work with me, you follow the rules. Rule number 1, you give me everything you've got. Rule number 2, then you give me more. And rule number 3, I make the rules.
Hello, YouTube. I'm still working on my introduction. I don't quite frankly know how to start these. I feel like saying Hayden Barton for the Batman tradition is a little too repetitive. I don't know. But anyway, I am here. As you can see maybe from the background, I am mobile. I am headed to Las Vegas, Sin City, Elvis's city, whatever you want to call it out of the million names, because I am on my way to the Batman 89 Dolby showing. This baby's remastered in Dolby Atmos, gonna look good, gonna sound good, and I'm excited. Now, the reason I'm mobile, and when I say mobile, I don't mean like I am just driving 5, 10, 15 minutes to my local theater. No, the closest Dolby theater from where I live is an hour and a half away. So, I am committing. I'm going to be there a little bit early to Las Vegas, but I'm on my way there. You know, I haven't seen these films in theaters. They released well before when I was born. I watched them all the time, you know, at my house on VHS, and I know them by heart, but I'm really excited to go see these in theaters. Particularly the ending scene of Batman 89 is one of my favorite endings to a film of all time. So I'm on my way there, and I might kind of not vlog, but shoot a little bit of footage depending on how interesting this is leading up to it. I don't know if they're particularly going to have any sort of merchandise or events, or, you know, a popcorn bucket would be really cool. I have the Bat Signal one from the Batman re-release, the Pattinson film, but I don't know if that'll be the case. So I might shoot a little bit, but I'm on my way there right now. Let you all know how it goes, maybe talk to some people, see if anyone's dressed up for the occasion. Now, this is an earlier showing, so we'll see what the crowd's like. But yeah, so far I will see you guys all, hopefully, about Batman time. That was awful. So, literally just started this back up from cutting off that last video. But I'm actually trying to think. Overall, the experience of going to Batman 89 right now is awesome. But then I'm also trying to think, what am I most looking forward to at this showing? Is it just seeing the film? Is it seeing particular scenes? Is it just the experience of seeing it in a theater? And although it's probably yes, that is a lot of it. But again, too, I think right now I'm feeling a bit of, I don't know how to not say cheesy. By the way, if you can see any sweat drops as I'm filming this, yeah, it's 97 degrees right now driving this, and I got my AC and everything off, not to try to cover up me talking on the video, so you're welcome. But I think, not to sound cheesy, but it's just the opportunity to kind of, I think, go back to what it must have been that night. And not that it compares, but that night, 1989, when this film first released. Now, I know this film's been re-released in theaters before, and it doesn't compare to the initial first-time release of it, of course, but at the same time, this is a first for the film. Just like it was a first back on that date in 1989 because of this Dolby re-release. So, in a way, we're kind of going to the first premiere of Batman 89, just in a different version, if that makes sense. Sorry, my camera got a little close there. And just the experience, you know, of hopefully going in with a theater full of Batman fans and just enjoying it, you know? I mean, I keep smiling because I mean, I can't wait to sit there and watch, you know, Jack Nicholson and the Joker and that Prince soundtrack, the Party Man scene, just blasting on a big screen in Dolby is just going to be awesome. I can't wait for it. And the ending, I mean, the soundtracks of Danny Elfman and Prince of this film are just unbelievable. So right now, I'm excited for the journey. Check this out. Check this drive I actually have to do through this canyon. It's pretty cool here. So this is my drive to the theater. We're driving through a canyon right now. Look at this. Look at how cool that looks. Now, I gotta say, I've seen it a million times, so it's a little different to me. You know, I don't really appreciate it as much as I probably should, but not that this pertains to Batman, but look at how cool some of this is just driving through this canyon here. And I got about 20 minutes of this. Pretty cool. Here we are. All right, I'm out. I just got out. Well, I got out a couple minutes ago. I'm on the road now, back home. As you can see, the barren wasteland behind me. I got about an hour and a half drive back home, but that does not pertain to anything. I just got out of Batman 89 Dolby re-release. Wow. I gotta say, it's weird being in that theater, and I'll say too, I don't know what I was expecting going into this showing, to be honest. Like, I was all in all up in arms about, I was just all in with the theatrical experience and the Dolby experience of this. But actually seeing the movie itself, you know, I was so caught up in that, I was like, what am I really looking forward to, or what are my thoughts on this movie beforehand? Because I love all of Keaton's films, all of Burton's films. I like 89 more. Returns I still like, but 89 I think is just a classic for a lot of reasons. But with these two, with all these re-releases too, this is an interesting one because how many of us have seen this film, you know, double digits, close to triple digits in some time? Like, for some people, I don't know me specifically how many times, but it could be close to triple digits. So you know these films by heart, you know what's going to happen, you know the lines. But in this, I found out you can still really find the enjoyment of seeing those on the big screen. You know, this film has so many iconic scenes and quotes from Nicholson and Keaton that, you know, it's always cool because, you know, we always quote them ourselves and they're funny, but it's also really kind of fun to have that experience with a theater full of people who are also laughing at those with you. You know, all those years from 89, those quips, those jokes, those things that Nicholson's Joker says still land today with a lot of audiences. And, you know, there was some clapping at the end. Lots of Batman fans, of course. Lots of people in t-shirts and sweaters and Batman merch. I got a little something, which might be my biggest disappointment or complaint about this, is that with the, I said earlier, with the Batman re-release, they did a poster and they did a popcorn bucket and a cup. I really don't know why they couldn't have done something like that for this, especially with Batman Day being, you know, just less than a month away now. I would have liked that. But the film itself, I still like it. I still love it. I want to go back about one thing too I'm interested in, because they've remastered this film before and redone and retouched up some of the sound effects and the gunshots and the punches. In this, that was probably the biggest thing I noticed sometimes, is that even with the Dolby sound, the gunshots and punches in this sounded great. And they were loud and really kind of emphasized it with that Dolby noise or sound. And I almost want to go back and watch the remaster too, because I don't know if those were the same sound effects that they changed and put in for the remake, or these were kind of new for this particular re-release too. But with any 80s film, the gunshots and punches kind of have that not so realistic sounding umph to them. But these, boom, these all sounded real. They were loud. The punches, it sounded like someone really got hit there. But all in all, I really enjoyed my time. Unfortunately, I'm not able to make it back to returns. I have to head on home now. But it was really cool to just see a group of Batman fans in the theater for a re-release that, quite frankly, I kind of was looking around the theater. A majority of the people in my theater, I could tell right away, were not probably born when this film came out, or they were so young they most definitely weren't seeing it in theaters. And I thought that was really interesting. There was very, very people you could tell just by their age and look that's they were probably saw it in theaters. I heard one guy say that the last time he saw this was he was 17 in the theater on release day. I thought that was cool. But I heard one guy as I was walking out, he was all happy. He didn't look just about my age, actually, but he's like, all I've ever seen that damn film in was a small little TV screen or something, countlessly watching it on a VHS back in the day. So he was really happy to see this in all of its glory in Dolby. And I think that's what a lot of us were to go to too, is to have the remaster, which it looks beautiful. I'm not going to lie, it looked phenomenal. It looked like a modern day film. Everything, the colors popped. At no point did I really look at anything and I was like, yeah, this shows much of age, unless, some of the special effects and other things like that. But I just mean the film in general looked great. I don't know, it felt like it all went by so fast. By the time I was at the cathedral or the ending kind of fight, I was like, oh my god, this feels like it flew by for all of this. But that's it for now until I get back, and I'll kind of have a bigger debrief on some stuff since I'm on the road. But till then, I had a good time. If anyone else is out there, getting ready or just leaving their showing, I hope you all enjoy it. Get ready, be excited. And, if anyone else wants to tell me their thoughts in the comments about what their feelings are walking out after theirs with returns and 89, please do. But we'll do a full debrief on this soon. Take care. Okay, following morning, Batman 89, first time in a theater showing. I gave my clip previously what I was thinking right out of the gate of seeing it in the theaters, right? I think it's important to do one. I wanted to do one right out of the theater reaction, and now the following morning, another one, just because with anything with recency out of the theater, the heightened of what you feel about a film after you see it can kind of change that following morning after the adrenaline, excitement, and all that kind of wears down. So with a film like this that I've seen, more times than I could possibly remember or count, how do I feel now that I've kind of sat there and really reminisced about seeing this iconic, incredible film, for the first time in theaters the day after. And the most important thing is I'm going to discuss the film in general, not as a fan, the nostalgia, everything, I loved about it, but just the film in general. The film in general looked beautiful. Already on that big screen, but the Dolby work and the remaster of it is the best I've ever seen this film look, without a doubt. They crushed it. Everything, every minute little detail that we as Batman fans could analyze about someone's costume, their face, the way a shot looks. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Now, the sound I mentioned in a clip earlier as well. The sound, definitely, they do not have the original sound effects of the guns and punches is that you might have, might be used to, or that those audience members who walked into a theater back in 1989 and watched the film, the original film on its original release. Those were not the sound effects that we heard in those. You could clearly tell that they were revamped and reworked. But quite frankly, I could see where this could be sort of a preference that, depending on who you are, could either like this or not. Purists probably would prefer them to have, even though they don't sound the most real and, don't sound as great, maybe considered now to today's. They might really like that. They might want it to be as pure form of the film as they, remember, to kind of keep that nostalgia to it, which I understand. I think it's fair. I sort of understand why someone would want that. Me personally, though, I like it because with this remaster, the sound hit like crazy. When a gunshot went off in that theater, when the Batwing was firing bullets, when Joker shoots the Batwing with his big-ass long gun, the punches and everything, they just boom, they just had that effect, that good bass effect to it that sounded so cool that you're like, I had a moment, I'm like, oh shit, like, damn, this sounds really good. And I could get where that could be. I could even see maybe when they were first doing this, because it wasn't the first time they have done those sound effects for this movie, to change them. It was probably some sort of a debate, but I think in the long run, they did make the right decision. Now, overall, to summarize all of my thoughts about this film, what I think, how I felt, the experience, and everything. And first and foremost, I'm happy that I took the 2-hour drive to go see it. Absolutely. No doubts in my mind. I think an experience like this, because, us Batman fans that weren't around when these films came out, they still hold a very special place in our heart, right? We grew up maybe not with the experience and the stories that someone of that age at that time could have, but we all have our experience with this film growing up that means a lot to us. Mine wasn't going to the theater in 89, but it was watching it on VHS everywhere I went. Whether it was my house, renting it from the movie store, my aunt and uncle's house, they had all of them. I was obsessed with watching this movie as a little kid, and I'm still obsessed with watching it now. That love for it has never, ever dwindled down. And so the experience, I've seen this movie so many times, I felt like when I wanted to go, it wasn't like, I can't even say the remaster of it wasn't really what made me want to go. It was just the experience and the opportunity to see this in a big screen. And in a way, kind of try to, the closest recapture of what that moment could have been back in 89 with people going and seeing it. And I mentioned before, one of the coolest, most powerful, I think, aspects of the showing that I didn't even consider going in, because I didn't really know what the audience would be like at my screening. I assumed there'd maybe be some people dressed up, or maybe wearing some Batman gear, but I never thought about the age demographic, what that would look like. Would it be older people, younger people, or what? And the more I thought about it and started looking around, my showing was primarily people close to my age or just a bit older that were not around for the original release, which I think is incredibly special, because that means that this film, being as old as it is and how many years it's been since it came out, still holds such a powerful effect on Batman fans. And it's still, whether it's your favorite film or, your least favorite or what, it has gone over generations and generations of people and Batman fans, and has had such a powerful effect that it has made people who weren't even around when that film come out want to go and spend $20+ to go watch it in a theater. And I think that says something. That's powerful, and I don't think that's something that should be just, it should deserve a spotlight because of it. And then on top of that, I did have I heard some guy say, the last time I saw this, I was 17 years old back in 89. He was there for the release, and he was coming in with his family. And, in my head, it looked like he was kind of bringing his family to show them that film for the first time. And doing that in a theater with your family, that's amazing, is it not? I think that's something. This was just such a big event where everyone there, it just had there was a powerful energy of just a celebration, and people wanting to be there just to celebrate this film and the cultural impact it's had. And how many generations of Batman fans, as I've said countless times now, it has created. And I had people clapping at the end. I had people laughing at the jokes they've heard 100 times before from Nicholson. Keaton's performance still crushed it. Prince, the music was phenomenal. I'm a big Prince fan. I have always been. He's one of my favorite artists of all time. One of the greatest of all time. And that soundtrack, right? Watching the scene of Party Man for the first time in theaters was insane. When the credits were rolling, they play Scandalous at the end by Prince. And people were getting up, and I was like, all right, let's get up and kind of take off and leave. But then I thought, wait a minute. I'm in a theater, in a Dolby remastered theater for Batman 89. Scandalous is playing in my theater with the Dolby Atmos sound. No. Go sit back down and just absorb this moment. So that's what I did. I actually walked back to my seat, and as people were leaving, I just sat there. And listened and kind of let all of that. I just enjoyed the experience, and it was awesome just to sit there and hear that soundtrack, and it was really cool. Overall, I hope they do this again. If they do it again, I will definitely try to get into the Batman Returns showing as well. But I think overall these showings like this, like they did for this, they did it for the Batman, are such an easy but cool way in kind of the break of us getting Batman films and content. Is just a fun way for Batman fans to relive memories and experiences and show them to new fans and, dads to their kids or, whatever, to kind of, introduce this character to more people. So I think it was a beautiful experience. I would do it again. If they bring it back to Dolby again, I would go again. But this has been Hayden Bart for the Batman Tradition. Take care.